She handed me my medal, then promised a very different reward. The room was filled with an air of quiet anticipation as the protagonist, a young human soldier named Alex, stood before a crowd of alien dignitaries and military leaders. His heart raced as he adjusted the collar of his uniform. The Grand Hall, located on a massive space station orbiting a distant planet, was filled with beings from different worlds, each more advanced and powerful than his own species. Yet today, Alex was about to stand among them as an equal, or so it seemed. For years, Alex had dreamed of becoming a soldier, not for the fame or accolades, but because he wanted to prove something to himself and to those who doubted humanity's place among the stars. As the human representative of the Galactic Federation, his duty was to defend peace and uphold the unity between species, but there was a lot more at stake. The war had been brutal. Thousands of lives were lost, planets destroyed, and whole civilizations brought to their knees. Alex had fought on the front lines, enduring the harshest of battles, facing impossible odds, and surviving situations that most would consider suicidal. Yet, through it all, he had emerged victorious. Time and time again, he had shown that humans were not to be underestimated, that they had something special that even the most advanced species could not replicate: resilience. Today, that resilience was about to be rewarded. The ceremony was simple by galactic standards, yet to Alex, it felt like the most significant moment of his life. He stood tall, awaiting the arrival of General Ziara, a powerful and respected leader from the Elven race, known throughout the galaxy for her military prowess. The Elvens were a highly intelligent and ancient species, their technology far surpassing that of most others. Their soldiers were legends, their strength and skill unmatched. To have one of their highest-ranking officers honoring him was a tremendous achievement in itself. Alex shifted nervously as the soft hum of the station's artificial gravity system echoed through the hall. He could feel the eyes of countless beings watching him, their alien faces a sea of unfamiliar expressions. Yet his attention remained fixed on the towering figure of General Ziara, who had just entered the hall. The general's presence commanded the room. She was tall and graceful, with silver skin that shimmered under the station's lights. Her eyes, a deep shade of violet, seemed to pierce through the very fabric of space itself, and her expression remained stoic as always. Yet, as she approached Alex, he caught a fleeting moment of something unusual in her gaze. It was almost as if she was seeing him for the first time, not just as a soldier, but as something else entirely. "Alex Thorne," General Ziara's voice resonated through the hall, calm and authoritative. "You have done what few thought possible. You have proven that humanity's strength lies not only in your technology, but in your spirit, your will to survive. You have earned your place among us today." She stepped forward, and with a slow and deliberate motion, placed the prestigious Medal of Valor into Alex's hands. The crowd remained silent, awaiting the official acknowledgement, the applause that would follow. But in that moment, all Alex could focus on was the weight of the medal in his hand. It wasn't just a decoration. It symbolized everything he had fought for, every sacrifice, every friend he had lost, every victory that had come at a great cost. As the crowd erupted in applause, Alex's mind wandered. This was it, the culmination of everything he had worked for. He had proven humanity's worth. He had earned his place among the stars. But then something strange happened. As the applause continued, Alex noticed General Ziara's eyes once again meeting his, her gaze intense and unyielding. She didn't look away as the others celebrated his achievement. There was something else there, something unspoken, and it sent a shiver down Alex's spine. Before he could think too much about it, General Ziara turned to address the crowd. "Let this moment be a reminder to all that we are stronger together. Our unity is our greatest weapon. And though this medal represents your bravery, Alex Thorne, it is not the true reward for your service." Alex's heart skipped a beat. The general's words had been deliberate, each one weighted with meaning. What did she mean by not the true reward? As the ceremony concluded, Alex was escorted to a private chamber within the station, away from the crowd and the celebrations. There he was met with General Ziara once again, this time without the formalities of the ceremony. She stood in front of a large, holographic display, her back to him as she stared out at the vastness of space. "You've proven yourself more than worthy, Alex," she said, turning to face him. Her voice was softer now, less rigid. "But there is something more I must offer you, something that no medal could ever represent." Alex was taken aback. He had expected words of praise, maybe even a mention of his future in the Federation's ranks, but not this. What was she talking about? The medal, General Ziara continued, is a symbol, a token of your bravery. But I see something in you, something that many of my kind overlook. You've shown that humans can be more than soldiers. You have a gift, one that goes beyond strength, beyond your physical limitations. Alex didn't know what to say. He wasn't sure if this was a test or if he was about to be dismissed, but the general's tone was far too serious to ignore. You've earned far more than just recognition today, Alex, she said. You have earned the right to something far greater. Before Alex could respond, she turned back to the holographic display, her eyes scanning the stars. She continued, her voice growing distant. There is an ancient power hidden within the galaxy's most forgotten corners. A power that can reshape not only you, but your entire species. I offer you the chance to find it, to wield it. But beware, such power comes at a cost. Are you willing to accept it? Alex felt a weight settle in his chest. He had never imagined this ceremony would lead to something like this. What kind of power could she be talking about? And why him? He was just a soldier after all, yet something deep within him stirred. The challenges, the battles, the sacrifices, they had all led him to this moment. I'll do whatever it takes, Alex said, his voice steady. What's the cost? General Ziara's lips curled into a slight smile. That, Alex, is a question only you can answer. And with that, the story began to unfold in ways that Alex never could have imagined. The room was dim, the only light coming from the holographic display flickering on the wall. The stars outside the station's massive windows looked like scattered diamonds across the infinite void of space. The silence between Alex and General Ziara stretched long, her words from moments ago still echoing in his mind. What kind of power was she talking about? And why had she chosen him for such a task? He was just a soldier, a human among many other species, all of whom seemed far more advanced and capable than he was. But there was something about Ziara's gaze, something in the way she spoke, that made Alex feel as though he had no choice but to accept the challenge. He wasn't just being given an opportunity, it felt like destiny, something that had been set into motion long before his arrival in the Federation. Ziara broke the silence, her voice cutting through the thick tension in the room. You're probably wondering why I chose you, she said. She walked over to a small table, picking up a data pad and studying it briefly. It's not just because of your actions in battle, Alex. No, there's more to it than that. Alex didn't respond immediately. His mind raced with questions, but he wasn't sure how to phrase them. I've seen something in you, Ziara continued, turning to face him. Something that many of your kind would call human spirit. I've watched you fight, survive, and adapt. But more than that, I've seen how you think. You don't just fight, you think, you question. You challenge the norms even when it's not in your best interest. She paused, as if considering how best to explain the complexity of what she was offering him. Alex felt a strange mix of pride and discomfort. He had always prided himself on his ability to think his way out of dangerous situations, but he had never expected that quality to be singled out for something greater. The power I mentioned earlier, the one I'm offering you, it's not something that can be earned through physical strength or skill, Ziara said, her voice low. It's a force that transcends those things. It is ancient beyond the comprehension of most beings. And it has the potential to reshape entire civilizations. Alex frowned, trying to process her words. But why me? Why a human? Ziara met his gaze directly, her eyes gleaming with an intensity that sent a chill down his spine. Because, Alex, humans are unique. You see the universe differently. Your minds are more malleable, more adaptable. While many other species rely on their technology and physical prowess, humans are not bound by the same constraints. You have the potential to harness this power in ways others cannot. The general's words hung in the air, and for a moment, Alex was speechless. Could it be true? Could humanity really be more than just a race of survivors, more than just soldiers and explorers? He had always known that humans had an indomitable will, a drive to push forward no matter the cost. But the idea of unlocking something beyond that, something cosmic, seemed almost impossible. And where do I find this power? Alex asked, his voice betraying his curiosity. Ziara's expression softened for a brief moment. It's hidden on a long-forgotten world, a planet lost to time. It was once home to a great civilization, one that was far more advanced than any we've encountered. but they were consumed by the very power they had sought to control. Now their world lies in ruins, a testament to the dangers of the force I speak of. Few have dared to enter it, and even fewer have returned. Alex felt a surge of determination. He had faced countless dangers before, but the idea of finding an ancient power, something capable of changing the course of history, was an entirely different kind of challenge, and he knew that the stakes were higher than ever before. "So what exactly do you need me to do?" he asked, his voice steady now. "You're not asking me to just go in and take it, are you?" Ziara gave a small, almost imperceptible smile. "No, I'm not asking you to simply take it. I'm asking you to prove yourself worthy of it. You'll have to face challenges, not just physical ones, but mental and spiritual ones. This power does not reveal itself to anyone. It will only show itself to someone who understands the true cost of wielding such power." Alex stood still, letting her words sink in. The weight of the task before him was immense, but he had never been one to back down from a challenge. If anything, this was the kind of mission that would define him, that would prove humanity's worth in the galaxy. "What's the first step?" he asked. Ziara's expression grew serious once more. "The first step is understanding that this is not just about power. It's about responsibility. If you take this journey, you will be representing humanity, not just as a soldier, but as a potential leader. The knowledge you gain will change you, Alex. It will change the way you view the universe, the way you interact with other beings. Are you prepared for that?" Alex took a deep breath. He had no idea what he was getting into, but he could feel the weight of the decision pressing down on him. He didn't just want to survive, he wanted to make a difference. And this was his chance to do so. "I'm ready," he said, his voice firm. Ziara nodded, a look of approval in her eyes. "Then you must leave immediately. Time is not on our side. The power you seek has been dormant for far too long, and there are others who would seek to exploit it before you do." With a motion of her hand, a holographic map appeared in the air, displaying the location of the planet Ziara spoke of. The map was a maze of coordinates, a labyrinth of stars and uncharted regions, but Alex's eyes were fixed on one specific spot, the location of the Forgotten World. "It's going to be a long journey," Ziara said, her tone softening. "But I believe you are capable of it. Go, Alex. Prove that humanity can rise to the challenge." And with that, Alex turned and left the room, his mind racing with the possibilities of what lay ahead. He was about to embark on a journey that would test everything he had ever known about himself, about humanity, and about the universe. The unknown awaited, and he was ready to face it head-on. The journey to the Forgotten World was not an easy one. Alex's ship, the Vanguard, was one of the finest in the Federation, but even it struggled to navigate the dense asteroid fields and unstable gravitational anomalies that surrounded the sector. As the ship cut through space, Alex couldn't help but feel a sense of unease. He had faced countless dangers before, but this mission was different. There was something about the way Ziara had spoken, something in her eyes that suggested this would be more than just another military operation. He sat at the helm of the Vanguard, watching the stars stretch out before him. The ship's artificial intelligence, known as Lynx, hummed softly in the background, its calm voice providing updates on the ship's systems. "We are approaching the outer boundary of the uncharted sector, Captain," Lynx announced. "The coordinates for the Forgotten World are ahead. The gravitational anomalies will begin to intensify shortly. Please prepare for a bumpy ride." Alex took a deep breath and tightened his grip on the controls. He had prepared for this journey in every way he knew how, physically, mentally, and emotionally. But he still couldn't shake the feeling that he was heading into the unknown. This world, this power Ziara had spoken of, was something ancient, something dangerous, and if he wasn't careful, it could be his undoing. "Understood, Lynx," Alex replied, his voice steady despite the swirling thoughts in his mind. "Engage the stabilization protocols. Let's get through this." The ship's engines roared to life as they moved deeper into the sector, the stars around them warping and distorting as the gravitational forces began to take hold. Alex's eyes scanned the console in front of him, noting the fluctuations in the ship's readings. The anomalies were becoming stronger, pulling at the ship in strange ways. "Brace for impact," Lynx warned, its voice slightly more urgent. Without warning, the Vanguard was jolted violently, sending Alex's body slamming into his seat. Alarms blared as the ship was rocked by a series of powerful shocks. He fought to regain control, his hands flying across the console as he input commands to stabilize the ship. The gravitational anomalies were more intense than he had anticipated, but he refused to let the ship be pulled into the chaos. For what felt like hours, Alex fought to maintain control, navigating through the turbulent space. Each time he thought they had passed through the worst of it, another wave of gravitational force would hit, shaking the Vanguard to its core. Sweat poured down his face, but he didn't give up. He had no choice but to push forward. The forgotten world was too close now, too important. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the ship began to settle. The anomalies lessened and the gravitational pull softened. Alex exhaled deeply, his body aching from the strain. The Vanguard had taken a beating, but it was still intact. Sector cleared, Lynx confirmed. We are on course to the Forgotten World, estimated arrival in 20 minutes. Alex leaned back in his seat, his heart still pounding from the adrenaline of the chaotic journey. He stared at the empty space ahead, feeling both relieved and apprehensive. The planet was close now. He would have to prepare himself for whatever lay ahead. As the Vanguard made its final approach, the planet came into view. It was a barren, desolate world, its surface marked by deep craters and jagged mountains. There was no sign of life, no cities, no forests, no oceans, just an endless expanse of rock and dust. The world looked dead, as though it had been abandoned for centuries. Yet despite its lifeless appearance, there was something about it that drew Alex in. He couldn't explain it, but there was a quiet, powerful presence emanating from the planet, something ancient. The Vanguard descended through the atmosphere, cutting through layers of clouds and dust. The ship's landing gear screeched as it made contact with the surface, the ground shaking beneath it. Alex quickly powered down the engines and ran a systems check. "We have landed," Lynx announced. "Landing zone is secure." Alex stood up from his seat, his legs stiff from the long hours of travel. He grabbed his gear, a utility belt, a blaster, a datapad, and a few other essentials, and made his way to the airlock. He hesitated for just a moment before stepping into the airlock's hatch. The cold, dry air outside felt strange against his skin as he stepped onto the planet's surface. The wind carried with it a faint smell of rust and decay, the remnants of a world long forgotten. The landscape before him was barren. There were no signs of life, no vegetation, not even animals. It was a graveyard, a place where time had moved on but left nothing behind. And yet, as Alex looked out across the desolate horizon, he felt a strange sense of connection to the planet. It was as if it was calling to him, urging him to uncover its secrets. He set out in the direction of the coordinates Xiara had given him, the datapad guiding his path. The wind howled in the distance, but the silence of the planet was deafening. The only sound was the crunch of his boots against the dry, cracked earth beneath him. As he walked, he couldn't help but think about what Xiara had told him. This planet had once been home to a great civilization, one that had reached heights of knowledge and power beyond what most species could comprehend. But they had fallen, consumed by the very power they had sought to control. What had happened here? What had caused the downfall of such an advanced race? Alex didn't have the answers yet, but he was determined to find them. After several hours of trekking across the planet's barren surface, Alex arrived at the entrance to a massive, ancient structure. It was unlike anything he had ever seen before. The architecture was both alien and familiar, a fusion of strange curves and sharp angles, as if the builders had been experimenting with forms that defied conventional design. The structure seemed to pulse with a faint, otherworldly energy, and Alex could feel a strange tingling in the air as he approached. He stepped through the entrance, his hand resting on the hilt of his blaster, ready for anything. The inside of the structure was even more impressive. The walls were adorned with intricate carvings and symbols, some of which Alex could understand, others that were completely foreign. The air was thick with the weight of history, and as he walked deeper into the structure, he could feel the eyes of the long-dead civilization watching him. At the center of the structure, he found what he had been searching for, an ancient device pulsing with energy, its surface covered in strange symbols. It was unlike anything he had ever seen. It seemed to beckon him, calling to him in a way that felt almost personal. Alex approached the device cautiously, his heart racing. This was it, the power Xiara had spoken of, the power that had once belonged to a race that had reached too far and fallen too hard. He had no idea how to activate it or what it would do to him, but he knew one thing for sure. This was the key to everything. If he could unlock its secrets, humanity would gain access to something beyond their wildest dreams. But as his fingers brushed against the device's surface, a surge of energy shot through his body, sending him stumbling backward. The ground trembled beneath him, and the walls of the structure seemed to come alive, shifting and groaning as if the very building itself was waking from a long slumber. Alex struggled to stay on his feet, his mind reeling from the sudden rush of power. He could feel the energy coursing through him, pulling at his very soul. It was overwhelming, intoxicating. He had no idea what this power could do to him, but one thing was certain. It was far greater than anything he had ever imagined. The energy from the ancient device coursed through Alex's body, a strange, almost electrifying sensation that made his muscles tense and his heart race. He struggled to maintain control, every fiber of his being pulled toward the device as if it were a magnet, threatening to overwhelm him. His vision blurred as the power surged within him, a storm of energy that felt like it might tear him apart. He staggered backward, trying to steady himself against the floor that seemed to be shifting beneath him. The walls of the ancient structure groaned and trembled, their carvings glowing with an eerie light as if reacting to the power now awakening. It was as if the entire building was alive, reacting to his touch, and Alex couldn't help but wonder if it had been waiting for someone like him to unlock its secrets. With every breath, the energy seemed to grow stronger, a force beyond anything he had ever imagined. His mind was racing, his thoughts scattered as he tried to focus. What was happening? What had he activated? The questions flooded his mind, but he couldn't find the answers. He needed to calm down. He had to regain control before this power consumed him. Alex clenched his fists, forcing himself to focus on his breathing. In and out, steady and controlled. Slowly, the storm of energy in his body began to subside, but the faint hum of the device remained, a constant presence in his mind. It wasn't gone, it was still there, pulsing beneath the surface, waiting for him to fully understand it. Taking one cautious step forward, Alex reached out again, his hand trembling slightly as he approached the device. This time he was more prepared. The initial shock had passed, and now he was able to concentrate, feeling the power with a level of awareness that hadn't been there before. The surface of the device was smooth, almost alive with subtle vibrations. As Alex's fingers brushed against it again, the hum deepened, and the strange symbols on its surface seemed to shift and change. They morphed before his eyes, shifting from one form to another in a fluid dance of light and motion. He leaned closer, his heart beating faster as the symbols began to make sense in his mind. It was as if the device was speaking to him, not with words, but with images and ideas that flooded his consciousness. He saw flashes of the past, visions of the long-dead civilization that had once thrived here. He saw their rise to power, their grand cities, their towering spires of metal and crystal that reached toward the stars. They had been a race of scholars, of thinkers, of creators. But with their knowledge came a hunger, an insatiable desire for more power, more control. And then came the downfall. The power they had sought to control had consumed them, twisting their society, tearing it apart from within. The very force that had once elevated them to unimaginable heights had been their undoing. In the visions, Alex could see their desperation, their final attempts to harness the power they had unlocked, only to be destroyed by it. The device's energy pulsed again, and the visions faded, leaving Alex standing in the darkened chamber, his mind racing. He understood now, the power wasn't just a tool to be used. It was something far greater, far more dangerous. It was a force that could reshape the universe, but only at great cost. For the first time, Alex felt the weight of his mission settle in his chest. This wasn't just about survival. This wasn't just about proving humanity's strength. This was about controlling something that no one had ever truly understood before, something that had destroyed an entire civilization. And now, it was in his hands. He stepped back from the device, his mind racing with the implications of what he had just experienced. He had to be careful. The visions had shown him the price of power, the cost of unlocking such a force. It could change the course of humanity's future, but it could also destroy them if they weren't careful. As he turned to leave the chamber, a voice echoed in his mind. It wasn't the device speaking, not exactly. It was a presence, an ancient consciousness, far older than anything he had encountered before. You have touched it. You have awakened it. The voice was both soothing and terrifying, a gentle whisper that seemed to reverberate through the very air around him. You have seen the consequences. You have felt the power. Will you embrace it or will you walk away? Alex stopped in his tracks, the words hanging in the air like a heavy weight. He knew what the voice was asking. It was asking him to make a choice that would determine not just his fate, but the fate of humanity. He had come here seeking answers, seeking power, but now it was clear that he had to be more than just a soldier. He had to be something more. He had to be a leader, someone capable of wielding the power with wisdom and restraint, or else humanity would fall like the ancient civilization before them. He took a deep breath, his mind made up. He couldn't walk away, not now, not after everything he had seen. He had come too far to turn back. The power was here and it had chosen him. He would have to learn to control it, to use it wisely, or it would consume him and everything he held dear. With renewed determination, Alex turned back toward the device, stepping closer this time, ready to embrace the power and the responsibility that came with it. The presence in his mind was still there, waiting, watching. But this time Alex felt ready. He had faced battles before, but this was something different, something far greater, and he was prepared to face it head-on. The device pulsed once more, its energy swirling around him as he touched its surface again, this time with a sense of purpose. The symbols shifted and morphed, revealing new patterns, new knowledge. He was beginning to understand, beginning to see the full picture. The power wasn't just a weapon. It was a key to unlocking something even greater, the ability to reshape not just this world, but the galaxy itself. As the energy surged once more, Alex felt a rush of clarity flood his mind. He could see it now, the path forward, the choices he would have to make. But no matter what, he knew one thing for sure. Humanity's future would be shaped by the choices he made here, on this long-forgotten world. The silence of the ancient chamber was all-encompassing. Alex stood there, his fingers still pressed against the surface of the device, feeling the hum of power beneath his skin. The visions had stopped, the overwhelming rush of energy subsiding, but the knowledge remained, etched into his mind like an indelible mark. He could see the path ahead, but it was unclear, uncertain. He had to make a decision that would not just affect him, but humanity as a whole. The voice, that ancient presence, was still there, but it was quieter now, almost distant. Alex could feel its weight, the gravity of the choice it demanded. "You have unlocked the power," it whispered. "Now what will you do with it?" Alex took a deep breath, closing his eyes for a moment. He had come to this place seeking answers, seeking power, but now that it was within his grasp, the weight of it all felt suffocating. The visions of the ancient civilization, the warnings of their downfall, echoed in his mind. They had been consumed by their ambition, by their greed for more power. They had thought they could control it, but it had controlled them instead. And now he stood at the same crossroads. The power was in his hands, but how would he wield it? Would he be like them, driven by ambition, or would he learn from their mistakes and use the power to protect humanity, to lead it toward a brighter future? He glanced around the chamber, his gaze falling on the intricate carvings that adorned the walls. They told the story of the civilization that had once called this place home. They had risen to unimaginable heights, their technology and knowledge surpassing anything Alex had ever known. But they had paid the ultimate price for their hubris. They had sought to control the power, and in the end it had destroyed them. Alex's thoughts were interrupted by the soft voice of Lynx, the ship's AI, coming through his communicator. "Captain, we are receiving a transmission. It is from General Zyara." The mention of her name snapped Alex's focus back to the present. He had been so consumed by the power and the weight of his decision that he had forgotten about the outside world. He activated the comms, and General Zyara's face appeared on the screen, her expression calm but serious. "Alex, do you have it?" she asked, her voice steady. Alex hesitated for a moment, the magnitude of his answer weighing heavily on him. "I have it," he said, his voice unwavering. "I've unlocked the power." A slight nod from Zyara was all the acknowledgement he needed. But there was something in her eyes, something that told Alex she wasn't just interested in the power itself, she was interested in what he would do with it. "I knew you would," she said. "But this isn't just about the power, Alex, you have to understand that. This is about the responsibility that comes with it. You have to be the one to lead humanity through this. You've seen what this power can do. You've seen what it did to the others. Don't let it destroy you." Alex swallowed, feeling the weight of her words settle deep within him. She was right, this was more than just a weapon. It was a force that could reshape everything for better or worse, and the fate of humanity rested on his shoulders. "I understand," Alex said, his voice firm. "I won't let it control me." Ziara's expression softened, but only for a moment. "Good, because there are others who will want this power for themselves. You're not the only one who knows about it now. You must be prepared to defend it, to protect it. And more importantly, you must decide if it's something humanity can truly handle." Alex's heart pounded in his chest. He had thought he had come here for answers, but now it seemed as if the questions were just beginning. The power he had unlocked was beyond anything he had imagined, and now it was up to him to determine if humanity was ready for it. The transmission cut off, leaving Alex standing alone in the chamber once more. He took a deep breath, his mind racing. The power was real. It was there in his hands, but it was also a dangerous force, one that could tear everything apart if not handled carefully. He had seen the consequences of its misuse in the visions: destruction, chaos, and ruin. The civilization that had created it had paid the ultimate price for their pride. But Alex wasn't like them. He had learned from their mistakes. He would control the power, not the other way around. The decision was his, and the more he thought about it, the clearer it became. Humanity had always been underestimated by the galaxy, seen as a species that could be easily ignored, a race of survivors with no real power. But Alex knew that humanity had something that no other species had: resilience, adaptability, and a fierce determination to push forward, no matter the cost. If anyone could handle this power, it was humanity, and he, Alex Thorne, would be the one to lead them. But before he could do that, he needed to return. He needed to bring this power back to the Federation and ensure that it was used wisely. He couldn't let others fall into the same trap as the ancient civilization. He had to be the one to set the course, to ensure that humanity didn't repeat their mistakes. He turned back to the device, his hand resting on it once more. The symbols on its surface had stopped shifting, and the energy had stabilized, but he could still feel its pulse beneath his skin. He knew what he had to do. It was time to leave this place, to return to the Federation, and to begin the difficult task of understanding and controlling the power he had unlocked. But as he turned to make his way out of the chamber, a final thought crossed his mind. The voice, the ancient presence that had spoken to him earlier, was still there, whispering in the back of his mind. "Will you embrace your destiny, Alex Thorne? Will you lead humanity to greatness? Or will you succumb to the same fate as those who came before you?" Alex didn't have an answer. Not yet. But he knew one thing for sure: he was not going to let the power consume him. He would use it to protect humanity, to ensure its future. And if anyone tried to take that power from him, they would face the full force of his determination. As he stepped back into the airlock and the Vanguard began its ascent, Alex looked out at the desolate planet one last time. The forgotten world had given him the power to change everything, but it was up to him how that power would be used. The future was uncertain, but Alex Thorne knew one thing: humanity's time had come.